My wife took her ex on our anniversary trip, so I disappeared from her life forever. 6 months later, she came begging me to return. My name is Daniel Carter, and for 8 years, I believed I had married the woman I was going to grow old with. Her name was Vanessa. When we first met, she had this way of making every room feel warmer. She laughed with her whole face, listened like every word mattered, and made me feel like I had finally found someone who chose me without hesitation. At least, that was what I believed. Our 8th wedding anniversary was supposed to be special. Not expensive. Not flashy. Just special. I had saved for nearly a year to book us a 5-day trip to Asheville, North Carolina. Vanessa had always talked about wanting to stay in a mountain cabin, drink coffee on a balcony, walk through little art shops, and pretend the rest of the world did not exist. So I made it happen. I booked the cabin. I arranged time off from work. I bought her a silver necklace with a small moon pendant because, when we were dating, she used to tell me, "You're my calm when everything gets dark." I even planned to renew our vows privately on the last night of the trip. Just the two of us. No crowd. No performance. Just me, my wife, and the promise I still meant. But 3 days before we were supposed to leave, Vanessa sat across from me at the kitchen island and said something that made my stomach go cold. "Ethan is coming with us." I looked up from my coffee. At first, I thought I had misheard her. "Ethan?" I asked. She did not blink. Yes, Ethan. Ethan Brooks was her ex-boyfriend. Not just any ex-boyfriend. The ex-boyfriend. The one she dated before me. The one her mother adored. The one her friends still joked was her almost husband. The one whose name had somehow never fully disappeared from our marriage. I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. It never came. "You're joking," I said. Vanessa sighed like I was already exhausting her. "No, Daniel. I'm not joking." I set my mug down slowly. "This is our anniversary trip." "I know. Our wedding anniversary trip." "I know that. And you invited your ex-boyfriend?" She rolled her eyes. "I didn't invite him like that. He's been going through a rough time. His divorce is almost finalized, and he needs a break. He mentioned he had always wanted to visit Asheville, and I thought it would be nice." Nice. That was the word she used. Nice. I laughed once, but there was no humor in it. "You thought it would be nice to bring your ex-boyfriend on our anniversary trip?" Vanessa crossed her arms. "You're making it sound disgusting." "Because it is disgusting." Her face hardened. "There it is. The jealousy." I leaned back in my chair. Stunned. "Jealousy?" "Yes, Daniel. Jealousy. Insecurity. Whatever you want to call it." I looked at the woman I had built my life around and felt something inside me crack. "This isn't insecurity," I said quietly. "This is basic respect." She looked away. "Ethan and I are friends." "No. You and Ethan have history. That was years ago." "Then why is he coming on our anniversary trip?" She did not answer right away. That silence told me more than any words could have. Finally, she said, "Because I already told him he could." I stared at her. "You told him before you told me?" She looked annoyed now. "I knew you would react like this." "So you made the decision behind my back." "I didn't make a decision behind my back. I made a practical choice." "A practical choice?" "Yes. The cabin has 2 bedrooms. Doesn't it?" I felt my jaw tighten. I had booked 2 bedrooms because Vanessa sometimes had trouble sleeping and liked having a separate room if she had insomnia. I had done that for her comfort. She had turned it into an invitation. "I'm not going," I said. Her expression changed. "What?" "If Ethan goes." "I'm not going." Vanessa laughed in disbelief. "Oh my God. Are you serious?" "Completely. So you're going to ruin our trip because of your ego?" "No. You already ruined it." Her eyes flashed. "You know what? Maybe Ethan was right." I froze. "What did you just say?" She hesitated. "But only for a second. He said you'd probably act like this. Like you own me." I stood up from the chair. I had never raised a hand to Vanessa. Never screamed in her face. Never controlled who she spoke to. I had swallowed discomfort for years because I trusted her, because I loved her, because I wanted to be the kind of husband who did not punish his wife for having a past. But this was not the past. This was her past walking into our marriage and sitting in the passenger seat. "You talked to him about me?" I asked. She shrugged. "I talked to my friends." "About our marriage?" "Sometimes." I nodded slowly. That was the moment something inside me went quiet. Not angry. Not loud. Quiet. The kind of quiet that comes when your heart finally stops defending someone who keeps hurting you. I walked to the bedroom. Vanessa followed me. "What are you doing?" I pulled my suitcase from the closet. She stood in the doorway, watching me. "Daniel." I opened the suitcase on the bed. "Daniel. Stop being dramatic." I packed 3 shirts. "Are you seriously packing?" I added jeans, socks, underwear, my laptop charger, and the envelope containing the vow renewal letter I had written for her. Then I paused. I took the letter out. For a moment, I looked at her name written across the front. To my Vanessa. The woman I thought I knew. Then I placed it on the dresser. Vanessa's voice softened a little. Daniel, don't do this. I looked at her. You already did. She shook her head. You're really going to walk out because I invited a friend? No, I said. I'm walking out because you invited your ex on our anniversary trip. Decided it without me, mocked me when I was hurt, and then told me he already predicted how I would react. Her lips parted, but no words came out. I zipped the suitcase. Then I removed my wedding ring. Vanessa's face changed. For the first time, she looked scared. Daniel. I placed the ring on the dresser beside the letter. I hope the trip is everything you wanted. Then I walked out. She did not stop me. At least, not then. That night, I drove 3 hours to my younger sister Rachel's house. When she opened the door and saw me standing there with a suitcase, no ring, and eyes I could barely keep open, she did not ask a single question. She just hugged me, and for the first time that night, I broke. Not because Vanessa invited Ethan. Not because our anniversary was destroyed. But because I finally understood something I had refused to admit for years. I had been the husband. But Ethan had always been the shadow in my marriage. The next morning, Vanessa called me 17 times. I did not answer. Then came the texts. Daniel, you're acting insane. Daniel, pick up. You embarrassed me. Ethan thinks you're being childish. I can't believe you would abandon me like this. We need to talk before the trip. I stared at the screen and felt nothing. Then she sent the message that confirmed I had made the right decision. We're still going. I'm not wasting the money because you threw a tantrum. She went. She really went. My wife took her ex-boyfriend on the anniversary trip I had planned for us. The cabin I had booked. The restaurants I had reserved. The scenic train ride I had paid for. The private fireplace dinner I had arranged. She took Ethan. And she posted pictures. Not on her main social media. She was smarter than that. But one of her friends, Lauren, posted a story by accident. I still remember the image. Vanessa standing on a wooden balcony in the mountains, wearing the cream sweater I had bought her, laughing while Ethan stood behind her with his hand resting just above her waist. The caption said, finally seeing her happy again. Again. That word burned more than anything else. Again. Like I had been the interruption. Like our marriage had been the mistake. I screenshotted it. Not for revenge. Not yet. I screenshotted it because I knew, someday, Vanessa would try to rewrite the story. People like her always do. By the time she came back 5 days later, I was gone. Not just from the house. From the life she knew. I had taken my clothes, my documents, my work equipment, my personal savings, and the old photo albums from before our marriage. Everything else, I left. The furniture, the dishes, the wedding portraits, the expensive espresso machine she insisted we needed, even the anniversary necklace. I left it wrapped on her vanity with the receipt beside it. Then I changed my number. I did not block her because I wanted drama. I blocked her because I wanted silence. Real silence. The kind that lets you hear your own thoughts again after years of apologizing for having feelings. I moved into a small furnished apartment 2 towns over. Rachel helped me find it. My boss approved remote work for a while after I told him I was dealing with a personal emergency. I hired a divorce attorney named Marissa Lane. The first time I sat in her office, she asked, "Are you sure you're ready to file?" I thought about Vanessa laughing on that balcony. I thought about Ethan's hand on her waist. I thought about my wedding ring sitting beside a letter she never deserved. "Yes," I said. "I'm sure." Marissa nodded. "Then we'll do this cleanly." Cleanly. That became my goal. No screaming. No begging. No public meltdown. No revenge affair. No drunken posts. Just absence. Vanessa had expected me to fight. She had expected me to chase. She had expected me to come home angry, cry, forgive, apologize, and eventually accept whatever version of the story she gave me. Instead, I vanished, and that destroyed her more than any argument could have. For the first 2 weeks, she tried calling from different numbers. Then emails. Then messages through mutual friends. Then her mother, Elaine, had never liked me much. She thought I was too quiet, too ordinary, too safe. Ethan, on the other hand, came from money. His father owned a chain of car dealerships. His family had a lake house. He wore expensive watches and had the kind of confidence people mistake for character. Elaine left me a voicemail. "Daniel, this is ridiculous. Vanessa made a mistake in judgment. But you abandoning your wife is cruel. Marriage requires maturity. Call her." I deleted it. Then Vanessa's father texted me. "Be a man. Come home and talk to your wife." I deleted that too. Then Ethan messaged me on an old social media account I had forgotten to deactivate. "Hey man, I think this got blown out of proportion. Nothing happened. You should really talk to Vanessa. She's a mess." I stared at that message for a long time. Then I typed, "You can keep comforting her. You seem experienced at it." Then I blocked him. A month passed. Then two. The divorce papers were served at the house. Vanessa called Marissa's office crying. She claimed she did not know where I was. She claimed I had abandoned her. She claimed I was punishing her emotionally. Marissa asked if I wanted to respond. I said no. So she responded legally. That was enough. But here is the thing about disappearing from someone who thought they controlled your emotions. At first, they get angry. Then they get confused. Then they get desperate. Because silence gives them no place to perform. Vanessa could not twist my words if I gave her none. She could not tell people I screamed if I never answered. She could not claim I threatened her if every message went through my attorney. She could not make me the villain without exposing what she had done. And eventually, people started asking questions. Why did Daniel leave? Why did he move out so suddenly? Why won't he talk to Vanessa? Why was Ethan on that trip? That was when her story began falling apart. At first, Vanessa told everyone I was insecure and controlling. She said Ethan was just a friend. She said I had always been jealous of him. She said I abandoned her over nothing. But then Lauren's balcony photo spread. Then another friend admitted Ethan had posted a picture from inside the cabin. Then someone noticed Vanessa had not worn her wedding ring in the trip photos. Then Rachel posted one sentence online that changed everything. Funny how some people call it insecurity when a husband refuses to share his anniversary trip with his wife's ex. She did not tag Vanessa. She did not need to. People understood. The messages stopped accusing me after that. Some even apologized. But I did not return. 3 months after I left, I found out the truth. Not from Vanessa, from Ethan's soon-to-be ex-wife. Her name was Claire. She contacted me through my attorney first, which told me she was careful. Marissa called me and said, "There's someone named Claire Brooks asking if you'd be willing to speak. She says it concerns your wife and her husband." I agreed. Claire and I met in a coffee shop on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. She looked tired in the way people look when betrayal has kept them awake for months. She placed a folder on the table. "I'm sorry," she said. I looked at the folder but did not touch it. "For what?" "For what you're about to see." Inside were screenshots. Messages between Vanessa and Ethan. Not from after I left. From before. Months before. Some went back nearly 2 years. Most were emotional at first. "I miss how easy it was with you. Daniel doesn't understand me like you do. Sometimes I wonder if I chose the wrong life." Then they got worse. "I wish we could go away together. He booked a cabin for our anniversary. Isn't that ironic? Maybe I should bring you." Imagine his face. My hands went numb. I read that line 3 times. Imagine his face. The trip had not been an innocent mistake. It had been a test. A humiliation. A way for Vanessa to prove that I would tolerate anything if she wrapped it in the right words. Claire watched me carefully. "There's more," she said. I closed the folder. "I believe you." She looked surprised. "You don't want to see the rest?" "No. Because I already knew enough." There are moments when proof does not shock you. It simply gives a name to the pain you already felt. Claire wiped her eyes. "I thought I was crazy," she whispered. "He kept telling me they were just friends." I nodded. Vanessa said the same thing. Claire laughed bitterly. "They always do." That day, Claire gave my attorney everything. The screenshots. The dates, the travel messages. The evidence that Ethan and Vanessa had been emotionally involved long before the trip. Maybe physically too. By then, I did not care. People think the worst part of betrayal is imagining what happened behind closed doors. It is not. The worst part is realizing the person you defended was laughing at how much you trusted them. After that, the divorce changed. Vanessa had wanted sympathy. Instead, she got exposure, not public, not messy, not dramatic. Just documented truth. Marissa sent her attorney a clear message. We had evidence. If Vanessa wanted to fight, the details could become part of the record. Suddenly, Vanessa wanted to settle. Suddenly, she wanted things peaceful. Suddenly, she remembered that she loved me. But love that appears only after consequences is not love. It is damage control. By month 4, I started feeling like myself again. I bought new clothes. I joined a gym. I started hiking on Saturday mornings. I got promoted at work because I had thrown myself into a project that nobody else wanted to touch. I stopped checking old photos. I stopped wondering what Vanessa was doing. I stopped waking up with that heavy feeling in my chest. And then, something unexpected happened. I smiled again. Not for anyone. Not to prove anything. Just because the morning sun hit my apartment window, the coffee tasted good, and nobody in my home was making me feel small. That was peace. And peace is addictive once you have lived without it. By month 5, the divorce was nearly finalized. Vanessa had signed most of the paperwork. The house would be sold. The retirement accounts would be divided fairly. No children, thank God, no reason to stay connected. Then Ethan disappeared from her life. I heard it through Rachel, who heard it from someone else. Ethan had gone back to Claire. Or tried to. Claire refused him. Then he started dating someone younger. Someone from his gym. Someone with no history and no consequences. And Vanessa, who had burned her marriage down for a man who liked being chosen, discovered he had never intended to choose her back. That was the part I think broke her. Not losing me, losing the illusion that betraying me had been worth it. 6 months after I walked out, I came home from work to find Vanessa sitting outside my apartment building. At first, I did not recognize her. She looked thinner. Her hair was tied back messily. No makeup. No confidence. No performance. Just a woman sitting on a concrete step, clutching a folded envelope in both hands. When she saw me, she stood. Daniel. I stopped walking. For a few seconds, neither of us said anything. The last time I had seen her in person, she was standing in our bedroom doorway accusing me of being dramatic. Now she looked like someone who had finally reached the end of her own excuses. How did you find me? I asked. She swallowed. Rachel. That surprised me. Later, Rachel told me Vanessa had shown up at her house crying and refused to leave until she promised to pass along a message. Rachel had not given her my apartment number, but Vanessa had followed enough clues to find the building. I made a note to be annoyed at Rachel later. What do you want? I asked. Vanessa's eyes filled with tears. I want to talk. Talk to my attorney. No. She said quickly. Not about the divorce. About us. There is no us. She flinched. I know I don't deserve this. I know that. But please, just give me 10 minutes. I looked at the woman I had once promised forever. Then I looked at the envelope in her hands. What's that? She held it out. A letter. I did not take it. She lowered her hand. I wrote down everything. No lies. No excuses. That would be a first. She cried then. Not loudly. Just enough for her face to crumple. 6 months earlier, that would have destroyed me. I would have stepped forward. I would have comforted her. I would have apologized for being too harsh. But that version of me was gone. So I stood still. Vanessa wiped her face. I made the biggest mistake of my life. No, I said. You made a series of choices. She nodded quickly. Yes. I did. I know. I chose wrong. I chose him. I chose my ego. I chose attention. I chose the fantasy of what I thought I missed. Her voice broke. And I lost the only man who ever truly loved me. I said nothing. She stepped closer. Ethan didn't love me. I almost laughed, but I did not. He loved being wanted, she said. He loved knowing I would risk everything for him. And when I finally did, he got bored. That sounds like Ethan. She looked down. I deserved that. No. I said. You deserved consequences. Not cruelty. She looked at me then, and I saw something like hope in her face. That was dangerous. So I killed it immediately. But consequences are still consequences. Her lips trembled. Daniel, please. I'll do anything. Therapy, counseling. Full transparency. I'll cut off everyone who encouraged it. I'll move. I'll sign anything. Just please don't let our marriage end like this. Our marriage ended in that kitchen. She shook her head. No, it doesn't have to. Yes, I said. It does. She started crying harder. I was stupid. You were cruel. I was selfish. You were calculated. I was confused. You were married. That silenced her. The wind moved between us. Somewhere nearby, a car door slammed. Life continued around us like this moment was not ripping open 6 months of healing. Vanessa whispered, "Did you ever really love me?" That question almost made me angry. But then I realized she truly did not understand. Yes, I said, that was the problem. She looked at me. I loved you enough to keep trusting you when your actions told me not to. I loved you enough to make myself smaller so you could keep Ethan close. I loved you enough to blame myself for being hurt. I loved you enough to plan an anniversary trip while you were planning to humiliate me on it. Her face collapsed. And then I loved myself enough to leave. She covered her mouth. I can't undo it, she whispered. No. But I can be better. Maybe. Then why won't you give me a chance? I looked at her for a long moment. Because I already did. For 8 years. She closed her eyes. The truth landed, finally. Not as punishment. As fact. She held the envelope out again. This time, I took it. Not because I wanted her back. Because once, I had written her a letter too. A letter she never opened. A letter from a man who still believed the woman he married would protect his heart. I owed that man closure. Vanessa looked at me with wet eyes. Will you read it? I'll read it. Will you call me after? No. Her face fell. Daniel. I'll read it, I said again. But I'm not coming back. She nodded. Crying silently. Then she asked the question I think she had come there to ask all along. Do you hate me? I thought about it. Really thought about it. For months. I had imagined that seeing her again would bring rage. But standing there, I did not feel hate. I felt distance. And distance was stronger. No, I said. I don't hate you. Her shoulders shook with relief. Then I finished. I just don't love you anymore. That hurt her more than hate would have. Because hate still has heat. Hate still has connection. What I gave her was absence. The same absence I had chosen 6 months before. Vanessa nodded slowly, like her body understood before her heart did. Then she stepped back. I'm sorry, she said. I know. I'll always regret it. I know. I hope someday you find someone who deserves you. I looked at her. I hope so too. Then I walked past her into my building. I did not turn around. That night, I opened her letter. It was 12 pages long. She admitted everything. The emotional affair. The messages. The way she enjoyed making me jealous because it made her feel powerful. The trip. The balcony photo. The fact that Ethan kissed her on the second night. The fact that she kissed him back. The fact that she cried afterward, not because she had betrayed me, but because she realized she had wanted to. She wrote that she came home expecting me to be waiting. Angry, yes. Hurt, yes. But waiting. She wrote that the empty house scared her more than anything in her life. She wrote that for weeks she told herself I was cruel. Then the screenshots came out. Then Ethan left. Then her friends stopped defending her. Then her parents stopped calling me immature. Then she had to sit alone in the house I had turned into a home and admit that she had destroyed a loyal man for temporary attention. At the end, she wrote, I know I do not deserve another chance. But I am asking anyway, because losing you taught me the difference between being loved and being entertained. Ethan entertained me. You loved me. And I threw that away. I folded the letter. Then I placed it in a box with my wedding ring, the screenshot from the balcony, and the vow renewal letter I had written before everything fell apart. The next morning, I took the box to a storage unit. Not because I wanted to keep holding on. Because some chapters deserve to be archived, not erased. 2 weeks later, the divorce was finalized. Vanessa signed without fighting. I signed without shaking. When I walked out of the courthouse, Rachel was waiting for me with coffee. She hugged me and said, How do you feel? I looked up at the sky. It was clear. Blue. Quiet. I feel free, I said. And I meant it. A year later, I went to Asheville. Alone. I booked a small cabin. Not the same one. I drank coffee on the balcony. I walked through little art shops. I took the scenic train ride. On the last night, I sat by the fireplace and read the vow renewal letter I had written for Vanessa. Then I burned it, not angrily. Peacefully. The paper curled, blackened, and disappeared into ash. For years, I thought love meant staying. Fighting. Forgiving. Proving you would not give up. But sometimes love means leaving before someone turns your loyalty into a cage. Sometimes self-respect begins the moment you stop asking why they hurt you and start asking why you stayed long enough to let them. My wife took her ex on our anniversary trip. So I disappeared from her life forever. 6 months later, she came begging me to return. But by then, I had already come back to myself. And that was the only return that mattered.